I'd like to welcome you guys to my daughter's newer 2021 Chevrolet Spark. I'm going to tell you now, this car is fantastic. It's white. It also has 4,057 miles on it. That's it. 4,057 miles on it. It is an LS, so that means it doesn't come with automatic door locks or power windows. And this car rides brand spanking new. She went and picked this up yesterday morning. For those of you that watched my last video, and for those of you that are brand spanking new to my channel because of the Chevrolet Spark, let me recap on my last video real quick. My wife and I also owned a 2020 Chevrolet Spark, black. We recently traded it in for an Equinox, and the only reason we did that, we needed something bigger to haul our camping gear, fishing gear, and etc. Possibly later in the future, something I can haul a canoe with. So in my last video, I was talking about hoping my daughter would choose to buy our old 2020 Chevrolet Spark. It was still on the lot, at least we thought. Well, make a long story short, we got up there and our old car sold, and Josh, the salesman, says it sold quick. I'm not hurt about that. Let me tell you why. To be totally truthful with you, I was being a little biased trying to get my daughter to buy our old car because I wanted it back home, because I have the love for Chevrolet Sparks. But after thinking about it, I didn't want my daughter to start thinking she was getting our hand-me-downs and actually having to pay for it too. So by luck, when we got up there to the car lot, my daughter had 4 cars she wanted to test drive. And yes, my old 2020 Chevrolet Spark was one of them. She made the choice on her own, and she test drove a Malibu, a Toyota something, and another Toyota, and then she test drove this little Sparky. The Toyota was completely crap. The Malibus, she liked them a lot, but it was out of her price range. My daughter did her homework before she went and found out what could be in her price range. Then she test drove the Chevrolet Spark. The Chevrolet Spark actually was there, just brought there an hour before we came. It was brought in on a trade-in. So the Chevrolet Spark, they did their checks on it as well, and they did more checks. I get to that, but yeah, it was just got brought in an hour ago. So Josh says we do have a Chevrolet Spark when he was telling us about it, but it has not been vacuumed out yet, and it needs an oil change. But you're more than welcome to test drive. And I looked over at my daughter. She's like, yeah, I want to, Dad. So my daughter and I went on a long test drive. I couldn't find anything wrong with it. So when we got done, I asked Josh, I said, since this just came in, can you do me a favor? He says, says no more. Say no more, Michael. I tell you what, if she likes the car, we'll go ahead and start drawing up the paperwork, and I run this thing into the shop, and I have them go through it with a fine-tooth comb to make sure it's up to snuff. I said the car has a little bit over 4,000 miles, and it has 4,057 now. I said, it does ride like it's brand new, but it has me worried a little bit. He says, fear not, we'll check it out. So that's why we weren't able to pick the car up until yesterday morning. And it checked out perfectly fine. Now let me tell you the difference that I can notice between the 2020 Chevrolet Spark and the 2021. The only thing I can notice is the rims on the car. They are slightly different than the 2020. I am very pleased for that, because my 2020 Chevrolet Spark, the rims after 25,000 miles was starting to oxidize. So maybe these won't, I'm hoping. Time will tell. she still has a lot more miles to put on it. Now, I am going to be doing a 5,000 mile review on this Chevrolet Spark, just like I did mine. And yes, I'm doing a 5,000 mile, every 5,000 mile review on my Chevrolet Equinox too. Now, when I do the every 5,000 mile review on my daughter's Chevrolet Spark, I either have to get the info from her, or she has to kind of do it in my videos with my help. Because I won't be driving it, it's not my car. She'll be driving it. So I'm not going to know how it does after 5,000 more miles. After much consideration and thinking about it, I'm very thankful that we did not get our old Chevrolet Spark. Because I did not want my daughter to feel like it was going to be a hand-me-down. She never said that though. And it kind of wouldn't have felt like hers. You know what I mean? This is 100% hers. A complete different from my Chevrolet Spark. Well, there's a lot of comparisons, yes. It's just like it in a lot of ways, but there's a lot of ways it's not. I drove the car from home to here, which isn't far, and just by driving that short distance, it's the first time I ever drove it, it has its own personality. And my God, is it, you can tell it's still basically brand new. You can tell the low miles on it, guys. It's unreal. It's like my little Sparky was back at 4,000. Now, there is a mystery to this car that I can't quite figure out. I have an idea what it might be. When we test drove the car yesterday, it had zero cigarette smell in it whatsoever. I would have swore there never ever was a smoker in that car. And believe me, folks, when I say I will pick up on that, trust me, I will. I have a nose unlike others, man. I have a super nose. I smell things most people can't smell. And that is freaking fact. My father had the same nose, and he used to call it a calibrated nose. But there was no cigarette smell in that car. And we took it on a long test drive. Well, when we picked the car up yesterday morning, as soon as we opened the door, I could smell something, somebody smoked in there. I could smell it instantly. My daughter didn't pick up on it right away. She's like, Dad, nobody smoked in here. We test drove it. Even you said then this was not a smoker's car. I said, I smell it now. It was a light smell, wasn't a strong smell. It was like somebody smoked in there one time. The only thing I could think of is possibly maybe the person cleaning the car out with the vacuum smoked, or was a smoker and the smoke was on him. I really don't know. I truly don't know. It's a mystery. But that smell will eventually leave, because my daughter does not smoke, and the smell will eventually go away. Plus, if it doesn't, I can get it out of there by cleaning it up real good. Now, that's the other thing too. My daughter and my wife will disagree with me on what I'm about to tell you now. I'm a true believer on how somebody keeps their car, you know, cleanly wise, on how they drive their car. I'm a true believer of this. And the car wasn't dirty. No, not by any means. It wasn't dirty by any means. So I told my daughter, I was like, that's a good sign. She thought I was crazy. I'm a true believer of this, guys. I may be wrong, but I believe if you keep your car spotless and not get really dirty, you're going to be real gentle on the driving too. All right, guys, got a couple more things to say, and then we will end this video. Okay, the part I'm getting ready to do right now is I'm too lazy to take the lanyard off my neck. I'm going to open up the little Spark. That's what I had to do with my little car. I had to squat down. I'm not having pain doing it this time, but on my other little Spark, that hurt like hell sometimes. Oh my gosh, this is so weird. Now see, I could smell a little bit of that cigarette in there. It was, I mean, it wasn't a person that smoked in the car, the last owner. I could tell you that now. Something happened. I could smell a little tint to it. Let me get some water in me, and let's talk about the Chevrolet Spark. I am a true believer of the Chevrolet Spark, y'all. I owned one for 3 years, and I never had a bit of trouble out of it. And not to mention, the damn thing was awesome on gas. I praised the hell out of my little Sparky. I kept it clean, I kept it in good shape. I gave a 5,000 mile review on it. Obviously every 5,000 miles. I've not had my Equinox long enough. I only just now have 800 miles on it. I've not had my Equinox long enough to know how much I'm gonna like it. But I can tell you now, if there's anything like my other Chevrolet Spark, which I believe it will be, it's awesome. I'm a believer on these cars, man. And like I said, the only reason I traded mine in, I needed something bigger because my adventures are growing. And for those of you that follow me and watch my videos, I wasn't able to do any adventures last week because of the rain and stuff, but I will be this weekend. And I do have a graveyard adventure coming up. I need to put some guitar licks to it. I just not been able to do that because when I smashed my finger. My finger's feeling a lot better. I'm gonna try to do that tonight. But guys, let's give another look at the 2021 Chevrolet Spark that belongs to my daughter Elizabeth. And then we'll close this video out. I know you're probably sitting there saying, thank God, Mike. I don't blame you. One of the other things that my wife and I love about the Chevrolet Spark is it is loaded with airbags. So yeah, and that's a damn good thing because as small as it is, if you're ever in an accident, yeah, if you know what I mean. And yes, I love these little cars. I am very thankful we have one back in the family again. I am very thankful. The only difference between this one and mine is 25,000 miles and it's white and it doesn't have the tinted windows, but my daughter can always get the windows tinted. It looks like it was very well taken care of for the 4,000 miles the last owner drove it. And my daughter does seem to love it. But guys, that's it, man. That's it. My daughter's 2021 Chevrolet Spark LS. I will give a 5,000 mile review on this. I have to talk to my daughter every 5,000 miles, see how it did, or she will do it with me. And I'm thankful to have a little Sparky back in the family. By the way, she already named this car. I think she called it White Puff. So it's not little Sparky. There can only be one little Sparky, and that was mine. All right, guys, we'll catch you next time. Come on, let's get out of here.